Hi, everybody. Welcome to Career Series 2025. Starting a career in design. I am so excited to be your moderator today. I I am glad and I am happy that everybody's here. Um hi Divine, hi Timile, hi Nana. Nice to meet you guys. I hope you guys are as excited as I am. I would really like for you guys to express yourself in the chat box. Let's just communicate. Like, because it's design. I mean, we're not writing codes over here. We're talking design. We're talking colors. We're talking all that good stuff. So yeah, I am super excited. I'm super pumped for this. Hi, Anointing, nice to meet you. Hi, Divine, beautiful afternoons to you too. We're going to have so much fun. We're going to have so much fun. Hi, James. Hi, James. Hi, James. Please, you guys, let's ensure to share this to other people, the link, so that we have other people join us. Share to your group chats, on your status, Instagram story, Twitter, wherever you are on. Hi, Tomisi, nice to meet you. Hi, Prince, nice to meet you. Yeah, Divine, I feel you. Yeah, thank you for having me. Hi, Yimika. Yeah. Hi, Oreva. I hope I pronounced your name right, though. Oh my god. Hi, Happiness. Hi, McDonald. Hi, Wisdom. You guys can introduce yourself in the chat box. So I keep saying comment section like we're on Twitter or something. But you guys can introduce yourself in the um chat box. Hi, Chamaka. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Hi, Shegun. Hi, Israel. Hi, Tola. You guys should keep sharing, please. I'm just hearing news that we have so many people on this session, double the amount we've had so far. So kudos to you guys that have shared so far. You guys can keep sharing. Active Joshua, active. Okay. Hi Junior. Okay, hi everybody. In a bit, we're going to be getting a timer, a 2 minute timer. In that moment, please, you guys ensure you share this to everybody. And I'm so excited that everybody's excited with me. People don't even know how excited. I feel like I'm the most excited person here. And I mean, um, yeah, Chiamaka. I feel like this whole session is going to give you guys a different perspective, a different light if you've even been in design before, or if that's your design. Hi Debbie, nice to meet you. Hi Promise. Hi Christina. Yeah, hi everybody. Again, please ensure to share this to people so we're on the right track. Okay, hi guys. So I'm back. Um, um, and I think we have Favor already. Um, so hi everybody. Welcome back to Career Series 2025, starting a career in design. I don't know if you guys have seen the past ones. We've done finance, we've done a lot, and I'm pretty sure you guys learned a thing or two. So today we have Favour Adeniyi. She is a designer at Microsoft. Guys. Let me not be as okay, let me behave myself. She specializes in crafting intuitive and impactful user experiences with a focus on both core product design and growth design. And I also want to talk about her. So, like obviously when they told me who I was, the session I was moderating, you obviously have to do like your research and stuff. I checked her out, I checked everything, I stalked her. Instagram, YouTube, blog. I saw that this lady of ours, she's like, you guys will see for yourself. But I'm so excited to have her on board. Beyond her being like a designer, she's a YouTuber, she's a content creator too, and she has a blog post. Um, so I hope we have our questions ready because she's going to be answering every single question we have, every single thing we have. Um, and yeah, um, Okay, like Tomisi said, if you have any questions, please endeavor to drop it in the chat box so that we can take it at the end of the session. Because we won't be taking questions midway. In a bit, I'm going to. Also, she is already on this call, so she's already on this call. So, in like a minute. But before then, I really want everybody to like introduce or just cheer up. Let's see the vibe. Let's see the energy in the chat box. Yeah. Um See her pretty self. Oh my god. Hey, I feel like I'm in the midst of a celebrity, but yeah, you're so pretty. Let me also add that part that she's actually really, really pretty. She has such a beautiful smile. So Favor, hi, how are you?
Hello, Tammy Topic. I am doing well, thank you. And thank you for complimenting me.
You're welcome. Thank you for being here with us today. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you
By
so
the
much for
way,
having me.
yeah. By the way, guys, I did not say my name. I'm sorry. My name is Temitope. I was a graduate. I was a FUNAB ambassador, and now I'm just a graduate ambassador, hoping to learn here. So Favor, you have the. Please, we want to hear from you. We want to listen to your story. We want to know how to
Okay.
be designers. Thank you.
Okay. Hi everyone. I'm sure most of you are in Nigeria, so good afternoon. It's 9 a.m. here in on the East Coast in DC. I woke up really early this morning to finish my slides. I've been up since 6 a.m. So I'm going to share my screen so that um can you see my screen? Can you see my screen?
No, we can't. Not yet.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, we can now. We can now.
You can. Okay.
Yes.
So today I put together a presentation. I know I have like about an hour with you guys. I'm hoping we can use at least most of it to go through the presentation, and at the end I'll take like a 15 or 20 minutes Q&A. So the title of my presentation for today is Notes on Building a World-Class Design Career. Okay, and I also feel like I need to say this right now. Happy Women's Month to all the women on this call. I have loved my journey as a woman. I'm turning 25 this year. I feel like my frontal lobe is fully developing. So I have enjoyed being a young woman and I'm growing into an older, wise woman. So I have loved the journey. I hope every woman on this call feels empowered today. And if you're a woman on this call and you're looking to start a career in design, I'm happy you're here because you're going to get all the notes. And to the men also, kudos to you guys for being here. Okay, so let's get started. So for today's agenda, I'm going to give a quick intro about myself. I don't like to talk too much about myself, so it's going to be very brief. And then we have a couple of chapters, I think 5 chapters. The first is where to start. The second is how to learn. And the third is putting yourself out there. The fourth is managing your career. And the fifth is a little encouragement for you. So, I was born and raised in Jos, Plateau State, Nigeria. I lived in Jos from 2000 when I was born till 2018, end of 2018. And during my time in Nigeria, I also went to secondary school in Ofakwara State. I don't have that pictured here, but from 2011 to 2017, I went to a 6-year boarding school in Ofakwara State called Adesoye College. You may have heard of it. So, if any ACU people are in this call, hi. But that was 6 years of my life. But for the majority of my life in Nigeria, I lived in Jos with my parents. I think they're on this call. So hi, mommy and daddy, if you guys are here. And then January 2019, I landed in Dulles International Airport in Washington, D.C. And I went to school at Marymount University where I got a degree in computer science. And I currently still live here. Arlington, Virginia, where my school was. And Arlington is a suburb of D.C. So you don't hear me saying D.C. because it's a suburb of D.C. Okay. So I've been here since 2019. And like I said, I got my degree in computer science from Marymount University. During my college during my college journey in 2021, I got a MasterCard internship in their headquarters in New York. So that's a picture of me in July 2021 in the MasterCard head office, or the headquarters in Purchase, New York. It was
Hi,
an
Favor.
internship. Yeah.
Sorry to cut you off. Your video is frozen.
Okay.
Could you be because you're using a different Windows for your video and your presentation?
Let me stop sharing my screen.
Okay, we
This is
can
my.
see you now. So maybe you.
Yeah, I stopped sharing my screen. I'm going
Okay.
to. Can you still see me?
Yes, but it is frozen again.
Okay. How do I share my screen and also share my camera?
So I suggest that you have the video. I mean, the link to the virtual studio on the same window as the window where you're presenting your
Oh,
screen from.
okay. Okay, give me a second. Okay, give me a second. Can I? So my presentation is on Figma and it's like a link. It's not like a, what you call this, a doc. So how can I do that? Because I'm seeing for presentations, I can only upload a file.
No. So the same window. I guess you're using maybe Microsoft Edge,
I'm using
right?
Safari.
Safari. Okay, so you open another tab
Okay,
and then
the
paste.
link. Okay.
Yeah. So you can just share your screen that way.
Okay, I'm going to try that now. I just did it. So, share screen. Can you see it? Me on my screen? Can you guys see me on my screen?
I can see your
You can't see
screen,
me.
but your.
Huh.
I can't see you, but it's still frozen.
Okay, let me try.
Okay, it's good now.
Yeah.
Oh, it was good. Just like.
Can you see me on my screen?
Still frozen. I mean, we'll probably just have to do without it so that.
Oh, that's so annoying because anytime I come back here, you guys can see me, but you can't see my screen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me see. So you guys can't see me right now.
Yeah, so we can see you, but you're
I'm
frozen.
Can't see you,
frozen.
but you're frozen.
Okay. Okay, can we take like a 2 minute intermission? I'm gonna try and let me see.
All right.
I'm gonna mute
Okay.
myself for like 2 or 3 minutes.
Okay, that's fine.
All right. Okay, so hi guys. While we let Favor do her thing, what are the things we're hoping to learn from today's from this discussion? And guys, thank you guys so much for the compliments and happy International Women's Month to everybody, to every lady. We rock. I mean, um, like everybody's complimenting how pretty she is. That's how I felt too. That's how I felt. But yeah, I don't know who has checked her out on. Have you guys checked her out on like her socials to see like the things she does and or the things she's up to, like aside even design? Because I want her to talk about design. We, I don't think I want us, but like, yeah, Nana, we're going to try to sort that out soon. We're going to try to let her sort that out. Um, yeah, okay, so guys, I want to tell you people that if you're not yet an ambassador, you're missing out on a lot of things. If you aren't an ambassador yet, I suggest you join us today. The link is right there, cowrywise.com/ambassadors. We do good stuff. We've had career series 3 years in a row now, if I'm correct. We had it last year and we had it in 2023, but on a smaller scale. So guys, we're present in over, if I'm not wrong, over 150 schools. Um, hmm, we're present in over 150 schools. So you could ask around. To be fair, 463 schools at the moment. That's a lot. So, guys, if you're not yet an ambassador, I highly suggest you join us. Again, carwise.com/ambassadors. We do things like this. We have fun. We have career growth. You learn how to upskill your LinkedIn. You just learn a lot of things. You network. Um, at this stage of our lives, we are trying to grow. We're trying to make sure that we have people our children can call. I don't know if you guys get my point. So everything we can do towards that, we do it here as ambassadors. Um, so I really, really want us to also still share the link. Yes, even as I am a graduate. I am a graduate. So yeah, you can. In Federal Polytechnic offer, I think we'll look into that. Um, we'll try to look into that. Yeah, Emmanuel to be a speaker goals. Do you get those kind of? And let me tell you people something. So I don't know if we saw this tweet recently where someone was asking about public speaking and how to go into that or how they learned it. It starts from things like this. It just starts from talking to a community of people first, standing in front of your fellow ambassadors and bringing up ideas, things like that. Do you get? So having that community of people does amazing things. Um, success Olatubosun, hi. To answer your question, we're having career series, and this one is starting a career in design. That's what we're doing here. Yeah, Richard, it is open for graduates. I am a graduate. You could apply. Henry, we will take note of that. At this point, we're even using this as community question and answer. Um, Adeniyi Precious says, yeah, she's extremely hardworking and her design career goes beyond product/digital design. And those are the things we're going to be discussing today. I think Favour is back. Is she? I don't know. How do we join? Cowrywise.com/ambassadors. Yeah, FUNAB. I graduated from FUNAB and our community is active. So I don't know. Akinde Olumide, our community is active. You just have to. I think you have to reapply again, cause yeah. And yes, today is the only day for design.
Hi,
Um,
can you hear me? Sorry, can you see me and my presentation? Am I still frozen?
I think we're just going to have to go with just your presentation, cause yes, you are still
Oh
frozen
wow. Okay. I've never used
in
this.
my on my end.
I've never used this before, so I'm not sure why I'm still frozen.
Maybe we'll just go with just your presentation screen. I think everybody will be fine that way.
Okay.
Do you have it as a PDF?
I have it as a PDF, but the slides are in separate PDFs, not one.
Oh, okay. Okay. You know what? I think it's fine. We can just go ahead.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Sorry guys, I'm gonna be frozen. Sorry, I don't like to use regular presentation formats. I'm a designer, so I use Figma all the time. So I'm sorry I'm going to be frozen. So since I'm going to be frozen, I'm just going to turn off my camera so that it doesn't look weird. So yeah. But you guys can see my presentation, right? Please let me know. Can you see it?
Yeah, we can see.
Can you see my presentation?
Yeah, we can see your presentation.
Okay. Okay. So just gonna start again. Sorry again for the interruption. So like I said, the title of my presentation today is Notes on Building a World-Class Design Career. And today, this is our agenda. I'm going to give a brief introduction about myself. And we have 5 chapters to go through today. So where to start, that's chapter 1. Chapter 2 is how to learn. Chapter 3 is putting yourself out there. Chapter 4 is managing your career. And chapter 5 is a little encouragement for you. So, to introduce myself, like I said earlier, I was born and raised in Jos, Nigeria from 2000 to 2018. And during these 18 years in Nigeria, I went to boarding school in Adesoye College of Akwara State, and that was from 2011 to 2017. I really do miss Nigeria. I think it's the best place to be on earth. And then in January 2019, I landed in Dulles International Airport in Washington, D.C., where I went to Marymount University and got a degree in computer science. And that was from 2019 to 2020, end of 2022. But I still live in Arlington, Virginia. I work remotely right now, and it's a DC suburb. During my college journey, I had an internship, a product design internship in MasterCard in their headquarters in New York. So that was in this was in June 2021 to August 2021. Also, I interned at Microsoft in their headquarters in Redmond, and that was in June 2022 to August 2022. And after that, I was offered a full-time offer, and I've been working at Microsoft from February 2023 up until now. So I've been here for 2 years and a month so far. So that is a little introduction about myself. So now let's talk about where to start. A lot of you here may already have careers in design. Maybe you've taken a course in design, or maybe you're interested and you may be feeling confused about where to start, especially with the tech industry today, the job market, the AI boom. So many things are happening right now. I feel like when I started my tech career back in 2019, things were much easier. Things were like just slower paced. Now everything is super fast paced. There's so much going on, and you may be feeling overwhelmed, but well, you're in the right place because you'll get like a clearer direction today. So the first thing I want you to do when you're thinking about starting your career in design, or even if you currently have a career in design but you're trying to like say upscale, is answer these 3 questions that help you discover your core. The first is, who are you? If someone asks you who you are, what are you going to say? What are the top 3 things you're going to mention? The second is, what are your passions? Your interests are very important to the unique person that you are. So what are you passionate about? And the third is, what do you want to be known for? So, for example, when you think about Steve Jobs, the first thing that comes to your mind is Apple. When you think about Apple, the first thing that comes to your mind is Steve Jobs. Why? It's because Steve Jobs made a great contribution to Apple, and not just Apple, into the design industry. The way he, well, I say simplified software design is something that is still referenced up until today. And this is like maybe over 3 decades ago that he started Apple, right? So I want you to start from where you are with what you have. You have to have some self introspection, because most times people just think about getting the job, starting their career, earning the money, but you don't start with the job. You start with where you are. You start from where you are with what you have, and you have to start by discovering your core. So these questions are very important for that. Now, after you've answered those questions, you now have to refine. So, sharpening your focus. So, think about the patterns and themes. So, when you answered who you are, when you answered what your passions are, you're going to identify similar themes and patterns. From those similar themes and patterns, the next step is eliminating the noise. So, that's the refining process. So, which of these themes excite you the most? Where do you see yourself making the most impact? And what skills are you eager to develop? This is going to help you narrow down the kind of jobs you want to apply for and the kind of career you want to have, because there are so many jobs in product design. There's so many problems to solve. There's so many industries to work in. For example, right now I work in the enterprise industry. For the foreseeable future, I would want to work in the enterprise industry. Another designer may want to work in social media because that's their interest and that's the impact they want to create. Another designer may want to work in the transportation industry. They want to solve the world's biggest transportation problem. So that is why you need to actually self introspect to know who you are at your core, because that is how you identify what type of career you want to have. And then when you do this, you're able to align your strengths with industry needs. When I was in college, I told you now, from my two internships, I worked at Mastercard and Microsoft, and these are B2B companies. These are enterprise companies, right? So at that stage, I already knew that I want to work in enterprise long term. And honestly, moving forward, I don't think I want to work in consumer. I'm an enterprise girly. Not like I can't work in consumer if I want to. I can. I do have the skill sets because they're very transferable. But I like solving enterprise solutions, B2B solutions, those kind of solutions. That's what I like to solve. And the strengths I had at that stage in college, I had strong product thinking skills. I was very business oriented, because actually, I didn't mention this before, but before I came to college, I was undecided. I didn't know what I wanted to actually major in. I wanted to do business because I always wanted to start my own business, but my dad told me to take some time to really think about what I wanted to do before choosing a major. And I took a semester to do that. So I was undecided for a whole semester. And it was after my first semester that I chose computer science because I realized that I liked technology. Okay. So I was always very business oriented. I'm a very entrepreneurial person. My parents are entrepreneurs, they're business owners. So I grew up around them and other business owners. So I knew that because of all these skills I had acquired at a young age, I wanted to do something in business. So when it came to tech, it's like, how do I transfer my business interest to tech? And that was in the enterprise world. And I was able to work on enterprise solutions at Mastercard during my internship, at Microsoft during my internship, and I've also been doing so now for the past 2 years at Microsoft as a full-time designer. So when you actually refine yourself and sharpen your focus, you actually understand what strengths you have and what industries need your strengths, the specific industries that need your strengths. So now this is the last stage of where to start, which is crafting your personal design mission. When you look at different companies, they have vision statements, mission statements, but you also need your own personal mission statement, okay? And even if you don't have a design career yet, it's okay to create one. You can create one in faith of what you want to do in the future, right? So just write a statement like, oh, in another year or another 2 years from now, this is what I hope to do as a designer. This is my personal design statement or mission statement, whatever that is. But I think that actually gives you something substantial to work with as you're starting your career or as you're redesigning your career. So take some time to, to start with discovering your core, refining your focus, and crafting your personal design mission. Now, chapter 2, how to learn. I think this is one of my most interesting chapters here because I like to say that learning is a lifelong journey and I am a student of life. Learning is not something you're going to do just before you start your design job. It's something you're going to do every single day on your design job. You are going to learn every day. And I don't think it just applies to design by itself. I think it applies to every other career and industry that people work in. Okay, so building a world-class product design career will require you to be a lifelong learner. The best way to be a good learner is by creating a disciplined structure of learning. And you have to do that by first identifying what skills you need to learn. Like we spoke about in chapter 1 when we spoke about where to start, we spoke about identifying your skills. Sorry, we spoke about aligning your strengths to industry needs. So when you've done that, you can identify what skills you need to learn. Some skills you already have, maybe from jobs you've worked in, like let's say you're trying to transition careers, you have transferable skills already that will be relevant in your design career. So now you need to identify what skills you need to learn. You can do this through talking to industry professionals, like, on networking sessions. You can do this through doing your own research, even asking AI to help you, asking ChatGPT, or just doing Google searches. Okay, another way I like to do this is through job descriptions. Like now I've been 2 years in my career and I was thinking, okay, I'm entering the mid-level stage of my career, so what skills do I need to possess now as a designer? And I'm just looking through job descriptions that have the level that I am transitioning into. Okay, and the next step is by researching learning resources. So there is a wealth of learning resources online. Sometimes people DM me and ask me, what skills should I learn? I'm like, bro, you could have done like you could have just looked on the internet, right? Like there's a wealth of learning resources online. Please utilize the internet to your advantage. And we're so fortunate today that we have ChatGPT at our fingertips. That is a very helpful tool to use, okay, or any other AI platform you would like to use. And then create a targeted learning plan. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail, okay? So make sure you have a learning plan. Remember when you were in school, whether it was secondary school, primary school, or even university, you had a syllabus for every subject or course that you took. The same thing applies to you learning design as a skill. So have a learning plan and become a writer. I think every designer should be a writer. I believe every designer should be a writer, and every designer should have good writing skills. Writing is not just for you to write a blog or a book or whatever it is. It's actually going to help you think. When you write, you actually realize that you're able to articulate your thoughts better when putting pen to paper or you're typing, whatever writing medium you use. It helps you think clearly. It helps you refine your thoughts, refine your focus. It helps you to be more articulate in your speech and also in what you write. And when you start your design job in corporate, you're going to write a lot. So as you're starting your design career learning, please share what you learn. And the best way to actually learn is to teach. Don't think you're not an expert yet and you feel like, oh, I'm not an expert, I don't want to start writing any articles or anything. No, let me tell you guys this story. When I was in college and I was learning design, because I told you guys I majored in computer science, that should tell you that my school did not offer design as a course or major. So I learned everything I knew about design online through courses. And when I was learning, I would write articles on Medium and I will publish them for whoever will read them. During my MasterCard interview in February 2021, one of the interviewers said to me that she saw my Medium articles and she loved them. And she said that I'm on my way to being a thought design leader. And I believe that impressed my interviewers, my articles. At that stage, I didn't even have an internship. I was maybe a year into learning about design. I was not an expert of any sort, but that impressed people that were VPs at MasterCard at that time, right? So it shows you that people at the top can recognize when you're taking the time to actually learn and learn well. So please write. Write on Medium, write on Substack, on Twitter, or your blog, whatever it is, on LinkedIn. Just find a way to write and share what you learn. It's actually very important for building a world-class career. Now, after your learning process, you need to measure your success, okay? And you're going to do this 3 ways by defining what success looks like. You know, when you start working on a design project, one thing we always start with before we even design anything is we always say, what does success look like for this project? What metrics do we want to hit? What goals do we want to meet? That is what you should do as a designer as you're starting your design career. You want to define what success looks like for you. So it's not just about getting the dream job offer at your big tech company. It's about your growth, your skills, and your impact, because that is what will remain with you forever. I know you guys have seen all the layoffs in the tech industry, meaning that your job is not going to remain with you forever. So I would say do not even attach your worth or your success to your job. Your job is just part of the journey. It's part of your success journey. It's not the entirety of it. Okay. So you should think when you're learning, you should think about success looks like, am I getting better at solving problems? Can I communicate my ideas more effectively? Do I feel more confident in my design decisions? You know, those are questions that will help you track your growth. Now, the second is tracking your progress over time. So growth is not something that just happens at once. It happens over a period of time. So I'll say create a system to measure it. It's just like you want to grow your finances, right? You're going to create a system to measure how you're growing your finances, how you're becoming like more wealthy or more financially literate, right? So I'll say like when you create a portfolio, compare your old and new projects. Like let's say when I was in college, my current portfolio, actually, maybe some of you have seen it. It's my college portfolio. I have not created a portfolio like in over 3 years, to be honest. But I'm currently working on my new portfolio that's going to be out soon in a couple of months. So when I'm doing this, my portfolio is going to evolve because the designer I was a few years ago when I was in college is not the designer I am today. So that's how you track progress over time. Feedback and reviews. I have mentors that I talk to all the time asking for feedback on my progress as a designer, and even utilizing people that work at my company to give me feedback, right? Like my managers, my sponsors, and even my peers. Guys, do not underestimate the power of peer-to-peer mentorship. When I was in college, it was my peers that gave me feedback on my portfolio. It was my peers that gave me feedback on my mock interviews. And till today, still my peers helping me. So it's great to have it's great to have mentors. It's great to ask a professional, an industry expert to be your mentor. It's great, but do not undervalue or underestimate the power of peer-to-peer mentorship. Utilize your peers because you guys will grow together. You guys will become successful together, and these are the people that will always have your back. Another way to track your progress over time is new opportunities. So let's say right now you're already in a design career, you're trying to see like, am I growing? Think about the responsibilities that you're being given at work. Are you being given the same level of responsibility? If it's the same level, then there's probably a problem. You should talk to your manager. You should reassess. If with each project comes bigger responsibilities, bigger complexities, that means you're growing. That means they can trust you with the more ambiguous projects. Okay, and then skill development. Design is a industry where there's so many new tools all the time, so many new methods, approaches. The one way I try to keep up with it is by subscribing to my favorite design experts on Medium, on Substack, reading their articles, learning the new approaches and methods they are using in their careers, in their jobs, on their design projects, and also just trying to learn new tools. Okay, you don't have to learn every single new fancy tool that comes out, but the core design tools that these companies are looking for people to know how to use, like Figma, Adobe XD, all these kind of tools. Please try and learn them. And there are a lot of tutorials, free tutorials online, especially on YouTube. Do not underestimate the power of YouTube. YouTube will help you go a long way. And then getting external validation. It's okay to feel like, okay, you're tracking your progress, you're doing well, it's good to have a disciplined approach, but try and get external validation, okay? Because sometimes we overhype ourselves. It's okay to overhype yourself, but sometimes you need to be more realistic. So, have mentor check-ins. At your job, you're going to have performance reviews. So that's going to show you, are you actually doing what you were hired to do? Are you meeting or exceeding expectations? And then, like I said, peer-to-peer mentorship. So that's community engagement. Ask for advice from people. Let's say you are a freelance designer. I want people interacting with your work, engaging with your work. So things like that. So try and get external validation, because honestly, at the end of the day, we all need validation. So this will actually help boost your growth and your confidence. Now, these are some top skills hiring managers look for. I've been working at Microsoft for 2 years now, the full-time designer. I've worked with interns, I've hired interns, I've sat on interview panels. And one thing I've seen time after time at these skills, product thinking, visual design, prototyping, storytelling. I think sometimes when you're starting a new thing or learning a new thing, you feel overwhelmed to want to learn everything or to want to perfect everything, but you really do not have to. You have to at least have a good level of strength in each of these skills to land a great design job. Okay, and not just about your job, it's about a world class career. When we say something is world class, we mean something is quality, it is one of one. So if you want to be world class, I would say perfect the art of perfecting your skills. It's going to take you years to build a world-class career. Like I cannot sit down here and lie to you and tell you like I'm perfect in each of these. I can tell you that I'm a very strong product thinker and I'm a very strong storyteller. I have very good visual design skills. My prototyping skills are not the best, but they're getting there. And that's something I'm building upon now. Okay. And I'm not ashamed to say that because I am strong at what I'm strong at, and I know the impact I make because it's very meaningful and it does drive business growth. But it doesn't mean that I'm going to just sit in my comfort zone. I'm still striving to learn more because I'm still young and I still have my career ahead of me to build. Okay. So for product thinking, it's not just about creating fancy screens because I've seen this trend, especially on Twitter. If you're on design Twitter, I've seen this trend of designers just focusing on the fancy visuals, fancy screens, but then you come to interviews and you wonder why you're not getting jobs because it's not about that, especially if you're going to work in enterprise. Like, enterprise is not that pretty. I don't know if you guys have noticed. So it's about designing with a bigger picture in mind. You have to think like you have to think like a business analyst or just someone in business. Okay, have that product led growth in your mind. Don't just think about creating something fancy. How is that product you're creating going to scale? How is that problem you're solving going to scale? What customers is it going to apply to globally? One thing I've learned about working at Microsoft, it's such a global company. You're going to hear things like, oh, the Japanese customers didn't like this. Oh, the Indian customers like this. And it's so interesting to me all the time because because I am designing for a global customer base. I'm designing for different people around the world. And if you want a world-class career, it's going to require you to design for global customer bases. This is why you need product thinking skills. So as you're perfecting your visual design skills, like I know some of you already have or are currently perfecting, please also have strong product thinking skills. Okay. And there's so many articles on Medium, on Substack, on the internet that will help you learn about product thinking. And now visual design is also very important, okay, especially when you're interviewing and showing your case studies and your portfolio. We want to make sure that your designs, they are clean, they're beautiful, they're functional, and they're actually solving problems. And I feel like a lot of designers, this is their strength, especially young designers. But I would say it's something to also focus on because hiring managers appreciate this. Prototyping. Now, prototyping is here. It's a good skill to have, but I will say like it's not the most important skill to have. Many times some companies hire prototypers, right? But I'll say at the basic level of prototyping, learn just learn it, okay? Learn how to make your designs functional, the different features that you're trying to solve for functional to really explain what problem you're trying to solve. So I would say learn that. There's so many resources online, especially free resources. So that will really help you as you're building your world-class career. And then storytelling. Guys, if there's anything I can leave you here today with is learn to be a good storyteller. Working in corporate has taught me that the people that tell the best stories are the people that go far in their careers. Whether it's product management, whether it's engineering, whether it's data science, whether it's design, I have learned that the storytellers are the people that go far. The good storytellers are the people that people want to listen to. The good storytellers are the people that people want on their teams on the most important critical projects. Those are the kind of people that the directors are going to bring in when they want to solve the company's biggest problems. So storytelling is an important skill to hone in on. Everything tells a story. Right now, this whole presentation is a story. And I think I'm doing a good job at telling a good story, okay? I mean, you guys can let me know if I'm doing a good job in the comments. But always think when you're starting a project always think about what story do I want to tell. Before I started creating this presentation, I actually have my notepad here. Okay, you guys can't see my camera, but I have my notepad here where I actually wrote down what story do I want to tell into this presentation, because I knew the audience was going to be maybe people in college and university, people transitioning careers, early career designers, So I thought about what story do I want to tell to this audience, and I looked for. That's how I created the chapters and all of that, right? So everything is a story. So just learn the art of telling stories, and writing, like I mentioned before, will actually help you tell good stories because you have to be more articulate. Now, soft skills matter too. It's not about just learning about all the design skills, taking the design courses. Please build on your soft skill, communication, writing, even empathy. Empathy is a skill, especially in design, because empathy I think, is the first stage of the design thinking process. So please build your soft skills. A good way to know what soft skills you're lacking in is by asking your friends, because your friends are the people that know you the most. Just ask them, what soft skills am I lacking in? Let them give you their feedback. Don't feel their criticism is bad. Actually use it to grow. That's one way to grow in your soft skills. And these are some design learning resources I have for you today. The Google UX Design Certificate course is a great course to start with. Interaction Design Foundation. I used this when I was in college. I learned a lot about design, but I think I had to pay some money. But I recommend it if you have the money for it. Honestly, invest in yourself. Honestly, that's one thing I want to even say here. Invest in yourself. When I was in college, I invested in myself. My parents can attest to that. Anytime they call me, I was always working on a project, learning a new course. Like throughout my 4-year college journey till the very last point till I graduated, I was always investing in myself. Till today, I invest in myself, right? I'm investing in my new goals and the new desires I have for my life. So if you may always think, you may think like, oh, this is so expensive for me, but if you can afford it, if you have the money for it, I'll say please invest in yourself, because in the long run it will be worth it. And then Coursera has a lot of free courses, so you can start there. Don't underestimate YouTube. Like I said, do Google searches, you'll find free design courses, but these are the 3 resources I recommend for you to learn design. Now that you have learned, you have to put what you learned to practice, because how are you going to know that you're actually a good designer? It's not just by your cho like Odumodu said. He said show your workings, right? So this is how you're going to show your workings. So case studies, the way you to put what you learn to practice is by creating design case studies. And these are the 3 aspects I want you to focus your case studies on. Solving a problem you're passionate about. Many times designers are always confused about what should I create, what case study should I design, what should I do. I always say start with a problem you're passionate about. In college, my case studies were focused on problems that university students were facing, or the problems that college students were facing. Actually, I think the other day I was looking back at my Microsoft OneDrive was reminding me of my old portfolio, and I was looking through it, and it was so ugly. It was so ugly. I remember what I was like, what is this? But honestly, those were my small beginnings, and they led me to where I am today, so I appreciate them. But at that stage, my case studies were about solving problems that I was facing, or my friends were facing, that college students were facing, because I could relate with them. And then now you have to apply the skills you've learned. When you do like a Google design course or a Coursera design course, whatever design course you do, you're going to learn about research, identify customer pain points, creating research insights, and actually like using maybe user journeys, user flows to solve for those problems through your actual design prototype. So apply the skills you've learned to your case studies. And one way to actually apply the skills you've learned, when you've done a course, we spoke about, first of all, discovering your core. So identifying the skills you have, identifying your strengths, and then you do a design course to learn, to upskill, right? To learn more skills and to drive deeper, rather to grow your expertise. Think about 3 to 5 skills that you want to apply to your case study. One thing I have seen that I do not really think hiring managers appreciate is that when you're going through most designers' case studies, their portfolios, you're going to realize that they're very long. Because designers these days are using every single design approach on the planet that ever existed. You're going to see a case study that has every single thing: journey mapping, user flows, user journey, user story. And I'm like, all these are not necessary. the art of designing, the art of solving a problem is looking for the best approach to that problem, is looking for the best solution to that problem. So your job as a designer is to really think about, okay, this problem I'm solving, what is the best approach to solving for this problem? There's some designs that are Microsoft. I do lo-fi. I start with lo-fi, but there are some that I'm going straight to hi-fi. There's some that need user stories. There's some that need use cases. I don't apply every single design method or approach on the planet to solve my problem, because in corporate you're moving fast. Sometimes you have less than a month to create a design end to end. So if I'm going to start using every single design method on the planet, I'm not going to finish in a year. Okay, and this is why most people take time to build their case studies, build their design projects, because you're trying to use every single design method and approach. It's great to learn about the different approaches and methods, but please only apply the ones that you believe as a designer will actually help you solve your problem and tell a good story. And then validate your designs. It's not enough to just create the designs and say, well, okay, I've solved this problem, it's fine. You need to validate your designs. If you're currently a student and you're learning and you're working on a case study project, the best way to validate your designs is by testing the prototype with maybe the potential customers for the product or the potential customers for the project. Maybe your friends, get feedback, right? Get feedback from maybe industry expert professionals. Show people your designs to validate them. And also, when you actually show people your designs, you're going to get feedback, and that will help you refine them. And that's the whole design process. Today, I'm going to get a project at work, and that project, I will think, okay, we've shipped it, but in 2 weeks we're like, okay, customers are saying this. Okay, we have to go back to the drawing board, reship it again, and we have to continue doing that. So I'm going to say, apply the experimentation approach to your design. Be a scientist. Design like a scientist. I think I should have titled this slide, Design Like a Scientist. That is the approach I use in my job as a designer at Microsoft right now. I design like a scientist. Everything is an experiment. I think about, okay, for phase 1, let's make this little update. For phase 2, let's do this bigger update. And we start with the low-hanging fruit first before we get to the bigger changes, okay? So that's one way to think about designing your case studies, design like a scientist. So now the third chapter, I feel like I've spoken a lot, but we're almost done before we do the Q&A session. I hope you're writing down your questions. I hope you're also enjoying this. Let me know in the comments, and when I come back, I can see it, okay? So now the third chapter is putting yourself out there. Design is all about show and tell. I don't know if you guys in primary school had show and tell, where you bring your favorite toy to class and you talk about your favorite toy, that kind of thing. We had it in my primary school. I used to love to do it. I bring my dolls to class. I'd be like, oh, this is my doll, and blah, blah, blah. Anyways, show and tell. That's literally what design is. You're going to show us and you're going to tell us. That the telling part is the storytelling, okay? And I have on the screen here, you are too gifted and talented to not be visible. Because guys, imagine if when I started in college, I wasn't showing my projects, even if they were ugly. Now I'm calling them ugly. Last year I thought they were beautiful. If you asked me 3 years ago, I'm like, oh, this is beautiful, this is perfect. But now I'm like, what the hell was I doing? Okay, because that's what growth is, right? So like, you have to show and tell. And you have to, the best way to show and tell is by creating a winning portfolio, because your portfolio is your body of work. It's what shows us the beautiful mind that God has given you. It's what gets you noticed by recruiters and hiring managers, and it is the bridge between where you currently are and where you desire to be. My portfolio is what I actually remember, like in January 2022. I was thinking, okay, this is my last year of college. I want to do an internship this summer and I want to get a full-time job. I knew that I had to create a winning portfolio. I remember that time just praying and asking the Holy Spirit to help me. And the Holy Spirit gave me ideas on how to do that. And guess what? I got my Microsoft internship for that portfolio and my full-time offer. Actually, I also got other internship offers that time, not only Microsoft. I chose Microsoft, right? Because why not? So your portfolio is really the bridge between where you currently are and your dream job. So do not underestimate the power of creating your portfolio. So now let us talk about helping you create that portfolio that stands out. So like I said, everything is a story. Tell a story. Do not just showcase your work. So tell us the story of your design process on your portfolio. How did you start this project? what methods did you use, why did you use those methods, why did you make the design decisions you made, so we want to see all those things, because before you get to the interview stage, the recruiter, the hiring manager, is going to look through your portfolio, maybe one or two case studies, and determine, okay, let's interview this person for a first round interview and get to know them more, and then maybe bring them in for a portfolio review. So you want to make that good first impression. You want to take us into the world of whoever you are as a designer. When I was creating my portfolio, I call it divine design. At that stage, I started a few weeks ago, just laughing. I'm like, wow, this was 3 years ago. Actually, I call it divine design because if you've not noticed, I love God a lot, and I am very led by the Holy Spirit in all that I do. So I felt like my portfolio was a creation of me walking with God to create beautiful design projects and solve problems through the Holy Spirit guiding me. That's why I call it divine design. It was merging my faith with the design skills that God had given me. So, and I honestly, I wasn't scared to show that to the world. Sometimes people are scared to do that, but honestly, I wasn't scared. And guess what? I'm at Microsoft, so don't be scared to us who you really are, okay? So we want to see the problem very clear, your approach and the impact. Many people stop at just showing us the problem, the approach, the solution. What was the impact of it? When you spoke to users, what was the like? If it's let's say you're currently in a design career, you're showing us your projects you've done in your job. What was the impact of that? Did it increase revenue? Did it decrease revenue? Did you gain more customers? Like, what was that? If you're not in a job and you're just doing like concept case studies, when you spoke to the potential customers, what was the impact of that? So please always show the impact. Then be selective. Less is more. I go through portfolios sometimes and I'm like, bro, this is long. This is long. Honestly, it's great to have multiple design projects, but your portfolio should only have maybe like your top 3 or 4 projects. Because when a hiring manager or a recruiter is looking through it, they only have 1 or 2 minutes they're going to spend looking through it. So you don't want them to be like, what's happening? Okay, so please, less is more. So it's always going to be quality over quantity. Only show your best and most relevant work. Like now I said, I'm refining my portfolio because I haven't done that in 3 years. I'm only going to have maybe like 2 or 3 projects on my portfolio, to be honest. Probably not more than 3, because um less is more. And when you know who you are, you know who you are, right? That's why it's important to know who you are at your core, so that you don't feel like you have to overcompensate by having multiple projects. So just always think like a designer, guys. You're a designer, so think, what this is my design your portfolio like a design project. Starts with, who is the audience, right? Like, who is the audience? The audience is hiring managers, the audience is recruiters. Those are your top target audiences. And then other designers are also your audience, because they want to maybe gain inspiration and see your process and your work, this kind of things. But I will say first impressions matter. So please design with the target audience in mind. Make sure your portfolio is easy to navigate. There are class sections and headings. Make sure the images and mock-ups or prototypes are high resolution. Okay, whatever is worth doing is worth doing well. So put your best foot forward there. And the way you, like, when you apply your craft and quality to creating a beautiful portfolio that stands out, it's going to influence the hiring managers and recruiters to be like, well, this person really put in a lot of effort and thought, like, this is impressive. Let's talk to them and learn about them more to see if they are fit for our company. Okay, so your portfolio is actually what speaks for you before you get to the interview stage. So please take your time to properly create it. And whatever is what you're doing, also do it well. So your portfolio is about you. It gives us a glimpse into your beautiful mind. So make sure your personality shines through. When I was in college, I always, okay, before I even talk about that, when I was growing up, I always said that I didn't like peer group influence or peer pressure. I always liked being distinguished. I liked being the odd one out, because that's just how my parents raised me. They always, my mom always told me, dare to be different. So I always had that in the back of my mind, dare to be different. So even when I came to college and I was creating my portfolio, my design portfolio, I looked through other people's portfolios, experts, my own peers. And I said, you know what? I want to have my own portfolio. I want something that's uniquely mine. My first portfolio that got my MasterCard internship, I should put it on the screen, but there was a section of the portfolio that says, that said, dear hiring manager, this is why you should hire me. It was such a very corny thing to do. But guess what? During my MasterCard interview with the VP of product experiences at Mastercard, actually, because it was a VP that interviewed me. He told me that what caught his attention by my portfolio was the letter to my dear hiring manager, something like that. I remember laughing about it because I remember I had showed my friends and they had laughed at me. I'm like, oh, it's corny. But I left it there, and literally a VP at Mastercard was impressed by it, and he thought like, oh wow, I want to talk to this girl. That wrote a letter to her that wrote a letter to her hiring manager and put it on her portfolio. And guess what? I interned at Mastercard that summer. So honestly, do not be scared to be different. Dare to be different, okay? So I'm giving my mom's advice: dare to be different, because it will take you very far in life. Now let's talk about the art of interviewing. Let me see how much time I have. Okay, we're almost done. Let's talk about the art of interviewing, because interviewing is an art. And from the image on the screen, you can see it's like a business meeting, like a sales meeting. Think about your interview as a sales meeting. You are selling something that the customer is buying. In this case, the customer is the company you're interviewing with, the company you want to hire you. Okay, and what you're selling are your skills and your design expertise. Okay, so always think about it as a transaction happening. It helps you set your expectations entering an interview, and it helps you like frame your mindset into how you should go about it. And interviewing is an art. That's why I said the art of interviewing. It's not just something you do. So master the art of interviewing. The best way to do that, the first thing, is to craft your elevator pitch. Remember these 3 questions? We're going back to where we started. This is why we started with these 3 questions. Who are you? What are your passions? And what do you want to be known for? These are the questions that are going to help you answer, tell me about yourself, because that's usually the first questions in interview. And a lot of people stumble upon this question. They don't know how to say it. Tell me about yourself is your elevator pitch. You're going to quickly tell us about who you are. You're not going to start with like, oh, I'm this. Like, because a lot of people always get confused about what should I say. It's your elevator pitch. So when you listen to a sales pitch from a startup, they're trying to pitch to investors, they have like maybe 1 or 2 minutes to get those investors. Have you guys watched Shark Tank? If you haven't watched Shark Tank, I'm going to recommend maybe go on YouTube and look for Shark Tank. You're going to see some maybe clips or episodes. Shark Tank is like a TV show in America where business owners, entrepreneurs, founders, they pitch to sharks. Those are the investors, the very wealthy billionaires in America, right? And it's so I watch it all the time because it inspires me. It teaches me the art of selling myself. Because these people, they come here, they have maybe 1 or 2 minutes to pitch their product to get investors to invest in their businesses. Okay, so that's literally how you should think about your interview, like your elevator pitch for your tell me about yourself question. Think about it like, in a minute, what do I need to tell them about who am I, what my passions are, and what I want to be known for. And you want to be memorable, okay? So these 3 questions that I started with are going to help you in the long run. Now, 3 keynotes on interviewing for design roles. So when you're interviewing, you want to make sure you're showcasing your full potential. Okay, so make sure that your answers are very curated, and you're going to do this by doing multiple mock interviews. My first year when I applied for internships in 2020, honestly, I got rejections back to back to back. I got rejections from Facebook, from Amazon, from Lyft. I interviewed with all these big companies. If I remember that time, Meta, formerly Facebook, they flew me out to their headquarters in Menlo Park, California. That was just right before the pandemic started, like I think a week or 2 before it started. And I thought I was going to get the internship, and I did not. But it showed me that, wow, if they can fly me out to interview me, that means they see something in me. And that was in like what, just a year of being in this country. Okay, so I'm going to encourage you to get used to the more you interview, the better you become at interviewing. And you can also do mock interviewing with friends. That will actually help you learn how to showcase your full potential. Then creating your portfolio presentation. Most designers usually show us their websites in interviews, and that is actually a red flag. You want your interview to be very focused. Like I said, you want it to be very curated. So please create a slide deck like what I'm sharing right now to show your process, your project, and all of that. Do not show us your websites. And your portfolio presentation should only have like maybe 2 or 3 projects. Honestly, I feel like 2 is a good number, because you usually have maybe 30 minutes to an hour to show your project. So you don't want to have a long presentation. You want it to be very memorable. So keep it quite short. Maybe I think 2 projects, or maybe at most 3. However you like to frame it. And like I said, you want to be memorable. So leave a lasting impression. That's very important. When I did my Microsoft internship, my Microsoft interview, my first round interview, I will tell you guys, to be honest, my portfolio was not ready. I didn't have a presentation or anything. And usually with first round interviews at Microsoft, it's meant to be like a behavioral interview. That's what I was told. And I went for that interview and it was not a behavioral interview. The interviewer literally asked me, show me your project. And I was like, okay, to be honest, I don't have my portfolio ready and I don't have my presentation ready, but I will show you my projects in Figma. I showed him my projects in Figma and he loved them. And I got the internship, right? And I remember when I went to Microsoft, I saw him at lunch one day and I asked him, hi, do you remember me? And he was like, yes, you're the Netflix girl. And the reason why I said you're the Netflix girl is because I had done a Netflix design bootcamp in college and I had a project from that. So I was memorable even in the way I shared it, even if it was not in the best way because it was on Figma and I was unprepared, which was probably my fault. I should have prepared, I should have prepared better. But I was memorable, and that's why he remembered me as the Netflix girl. So you must be memorable. That's why I said you want to be uniquely you. So that to be different, so that you can be memorable, and your interviewers not just feel like, oh, you deserve the job. They will actually feel inspired by you, because managers want to work with people that inspire them, because bro, corporate careers are not for the faint-hearted, okay, especially in the economy of today. So people, hiring managers want to hire people that are going to inspire them also. So you want to be inspirational, and you do that by being memorable. So rejection is redirection. Encourage yourself and continue to build yourself up, because the right opportunity is coming. If you're facing multiple rejections, honestly, it's okay to be sad. It's okay to cry. Me, I was always crying. Ask my parents. I'll call them. I will cry. I will weep. But I always felt like it was redirection. And by the grace of God, the right opportunities found me and will still find me in the future. Okay, so just encourage yourself and use the time to continue to upskill and build yourself up, so that when the opportunity finds you, you are very prepared and you're ready to hit the ground running. Now, I think this is our second to last question section. So I'm gonna run through because I'm running late now on time. So managing your career, because now you've gotten the job, you have to manage your career. Okay, your career is a marathon, not a sprint. Most people always think like everything in their career has happened within the first 3 years, first 5 years. I used to think like that. I went into my first day at Microsoft telling my manager I want the promotion in 6 months. Literally, I told her I want the promotion in 6 months. And that was good. I'm a very, very ambitious person. So I was able to set expectations like, hey, I'm an ambitious designer, so I need you to, help me fulfill my goals here at this company. But at that stage, I didn't realize, I thought I was running a sprint, but now I realize it's a marathon, okay? So in the long run, the two things that matter the most are diligence and stewardship. So your job is not your career, it's a part of it. I used to think my job was my career, but I have come to know recently that honestly, bro, my job is not my career, because right now I'm not at my job, right? But I'm sharing with you my journey as a design expert, right? So you have to think about any job you work in as a part of your career, not as the entirety of your career. So you think about the legacy you want to have in your industry. Like I've been repeating, what do you want to be known for? That's a question you need to answer maybe every single day. Well, maybe that's too much. But maybe every month you ask yourself, what do I want to be known for? Like, think about that every stage of your career. What do you want to be known for? That will help you determine the kind of legacy you want to have. Look at the legacy Steve Jobs has. I don't know if you guys know this woman. Her name is Julie Zhu. She was the former VP of design at Meta when they were still called Facebook. She worked there for multiple years. Julie Zhu literally like built Facebook from the ground up at that stage. Like their products, their flagship products, which were the Facebook products. Like I read her articles on Medium, on Substack. She's my queen. I hope to meet her one day. She inspired me so much, right? That's a legacy she left, and I think now she's running her own startup, right? So remember your mission statement. Now is that time to bring it to life. So think about your career like a tree, which each seed planted, you're going to nurture over it properly, and it will bear the resulting fruit. So plant good seeds, so that plant quality seeds in good soil, because this leads to this. So always learn, like in your career, you have to learn the art of stewardship, because the more you go from level to level, if you're not diligent, if you're not a good steward, you will never feel fulfilled, you will never feel content, and honestly, it's not even a good look on you. Okay, you just want to feel very balanced. You want to live a purposeful and meaningful life, and you do that through diligence and stewardship. So in everything you do, not just your career, learn the art of, or that learn the practice diligence and stewardship. And these are tips to help you manage your career. So create short and long-term goals. Dividing your goals into these two categories will help you focus on achieving the small goals that lead to the bigger goals. Like my short-term goals in college were, okay, I want to create a good case studies, a good portfolio, and then get an internship and then a full-time job. So it was like the smaller goals led to the bigger goals. Keep a brag sheet. So when you're working, please, like I said, learn to write. So document everything. Document your wins, your learnings at every stage of your career. Even if you don't have a job now, document your wins. What are you learning? Did you do a project that maybe a design expert complimented you on or give you great feedback on? So keep a brag sheet and advocate for yourself. Okay, especially in your corporate job, you need to be your biggest advocate and be your biggest cheerleader. Always ask for what you want. Guys, closed mouths do not get fed. So please don't stop until you get what you're looking for. And don't be scared to reinvent yourself. Right now, I'm in the process of restructuring my life, redesigning my life, and reinventing myself because I realized that now that I have achieved the goals I wanted to achieve when I was 18, I'm turning 25 this year, so I've set new goals that 30-year-old people will be proud of, right? So now I'm setting like my short-term and long-term goals for the next 5 years. So I'm in the practice right now of reinventing myself. So it's something that you should never be scared to do. And it's also like the biggest marker of your growth and evolution. So remember that you are the creative director of the beautiful life project that is your career. So do your best, but remember to have fun. And now this is my last slide. A little encouragement for you. Failure is part of success. If you want to grow, learn to fail and fail fast. I'm just gonna spend 1 minute on this slide before we go to Q&A. So I told you guys I went through a whole year of rejections before I got my job at Microsoft, right? Sorry, before I got my first internship at MasterCard. Then from MasterCard, I got Microsoft. I got, I think, 2 other companies at that time. Then I got my Microsoft full-time offer, okay? So failure is part of success. So don't see failure as this terrible thing, or don't demean yourself because you feel like you failed. Honestly, just learn from what's not working, figure out what's not working, and continue to perfect it until it works. Okay, I like to fail fast. If I'm going to do something, I'm like, okay, let me fail and fail fast so that I can actually get to where I need to be. Okay, so I don't want you guys to feel discouraged with what's happening in the world, in the job market. There's a place for you in this world. There's a place for you to fulfill your purpose, to fulfill your meaningful purpose, to make your great impact. There's someone somewhere that's looking for the impact that you're going to bring to this world. So it doesn't matter whatever discouragement or disappointment you're currently facing, you're going to be successful. Okay, so that is the end of my session. Now it's Q&A time, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that you guys can see my face. I'm going to come back now. Okay, so Q&A.
Yeah, hi, Temitope, are you there?
Yes, I am.
I think you're frozen,
Can you
Temitope.
see me? Am I done now?
You're still frozen.
But can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you see me now? I don't know. I had to see
You're still
my
frozen.
phone. I'm in Nigeria. I oh um I don't know. Let me try again. I don't know. Am I better now? I'm still frozen.
I think you should just speak. Yeah, maybe have your video turned off or something so
Um,
that we can move quick.
okay, beginning a bit, but I just wanted to say that I learned a lot. I had to take notes. I had to. It was, and then I'm very grateful for the fact that someone mentioned that you were audible and you were fluent. So it wasn't like we weren't even with you. I'm super grateful for that. Um, I from the beginning I'll take do a quick rundown before I go into the questions. So I don't know if we all heard this, but Favor said we should learn to write. She also said we should learn to teach. And she said we should not be scared to teach what we know, no matter how little it is. She said that we should not be scared to take corrections from our peers. She said they are the best set of people that can tell you your soft skills. She said we should create a disciplined structure of learning. She said we should measure our learning success. She said have mentors, but don't forget to utilize the people you work with. She also said that you should not be scared of failure. She said you should design. And now let me just go to the design point of view. She said you should design with it. She said invest in yourself. And she also said we should not underestimate. So I feel like sometimes we throw out YouTube. YouTube is actually a very, very good platform. There is nothing you're looking to learn that you will list a playlist of it on YouTube. YouTube is perfect for Favor said some things, and I quote: rejection is redirection. Failure is a of success. Um she also said you need to know what you want to be known for. And then she said your job is not your career. These were just like part of the things to jot down. Um so we're going to go into questions now, because I know that we have a lot. So um questions.
Okay, so let's just answer
Okay,
the
so
question on the screen.
Samad Adele cases. Yeah.
Okay, so the question is, I came in late, but I still learned a lot. My only question is, what is the distinctive difference between product design and UI UX design? Okay, thank you for this question, Abdul Samad. So product design, like I mentioned earlier, it encompasses product thinking, visual design, storytelling, and what was the last one? Prototyping, and many other skills actually. I think how I would differentiate them is that UI UX is more specific to how, like, UI design is like, oh, how something looks. UX is how like it functions. But product thinks about the business goals, right? And these days, many companies, especially the global companies, are trying to hire the people that will not only think about how it looks or how it feels, how the experience is. They're going to think about the business goals, how we're going to scale it. And that's why I said design like a scientist, because you're going to learn the art of experimentation through science, through how scientists created all the inventions they did. So that's how product design, that's kind of what that's kind of what product design is. And also product design also has research. I didn't really mention that. I've had to do research on my job, even if I was not employed to do research. But as a designer, as a product designer, you need to learn to have the entirety of the full scope of design skills. So your research skills don't have to be very perfect. As far as you can conduct maybe a good moderated research, you're good to go. So like I said, so some research skills are great to have for product design, strong product thinking skills, thinking about the business goals, the outcomes, how the product is going to scale, if you're going to increase conversion, completion, reduce friction, get more customers, all those things. Think about the metrics that the business is tracking towards. So that's what product designers do. But the UI and UX designers just focus on the design itself and not the business aspect of it. I hope that answered your question. Okay, the next question from Usman Raji. He said, as a motion designer, I think I'm confused about the meaning of impact. Do you think I can balance impact, growth advocacy, personal development, discovery, and my motion design career? So as a motion designer, I think how you can define impact, maybe if you have like projects you've done for maybe businesses, you can think about how your motion design projects impacted those businesses. Impact just means what happened when you did this. Literally, it means like what was the result of doing this. It means like when it shipped or when you tested it or when you went live, how did customers react to it? Did it increase or improve any metrics? Did it decrease any metrics? Because impact is also not always good and doesn't mean that your work was bad. So don't think impact is like, oh, because the designs I've done, I've shipped and it did terribly and we had to pull it and redo something else. But impact just means that there was a specific goal you were tracking towards to, and you either met that goal or did not meet it. That's what impact is. So that's how you can use it in your motion design career. Okay, the next question from Isola Emmanuel. He said, the idea of treating interviews as a sales meeting and making them memorable is quite insightful. How can a beginner craft a compelling and memorable personal brand story for interviews? Okay, so personal brand story. A lot of words. I'll say that we started the presentation with the questions, and I've seen a lot of comments saying we should share the presentation. I have it as a folder, so I will share it with the moderators, and I believe they can send it out to everyone that registered. So you have that in case you need to refer back to it. But we started the presentation talking about discovering your core, right? And we spoke about asking yourself the questions like, who are you, what are your passions, and what do you want to be known for? So that is your personal brand, by the way. That's what it's called. That's what discovering your core is all about, is who are you at your core. That is your personal brand, because your personal brand is unique to who you are. So now how can you craft, you said how can a beginner craft a compelling and memorable brand story for interviews? So I would say don't think too much about crafting a story for interview. I would say think more about showcasing think more about showcasing who you are at the interviews. So like when we spoke about creating your elevator pitch, right? Because like a sales meeting, right? You're selling something, what you're selling are your skills and your expertise, and the company is what is buying that. So it's a transaction, right? So you're going to think about, okay, this company, you read through the job description, you've applied at the interview stage, like they're looking for designers, maybe designers who are good at maybe like prototyping, or they're looking for designers who have some AI experience, and maybe you've done some AI design work, or maybe you're looking for designers who have done some social media work, and maybe you've done social media design. So you're going to craft your story according to that, because a part of your brand is that you're good at creating consumer products for social media, right? So that's how you're going to think about doing it. And just think about when you're creating like the statement. So I don't want you to like think like you have to cram a story, like it's not an exam, there's no wrong or right answer. So think about just crafting, like I said, craft your mission statement and curating that mission statement for each company you're interviewing for, because not every company is the same and not the same skills they're all looking for from the job descriptions. Okay, so that's how our advice should go about it. You have your mission statement that you have created from who you are, what your passion is about, and what you want to be known for. So when you're interviewing with Microsoft, and let's say it's for like a job that you'll be working in their maybe Windows department, that's operating system. So think about what part of your personal brand is target something that is more like enterprise related or more technical related. Like if you're interviewing with Instagram, that's a consumer social media app. So what part of your personal brand or mission is curated for, and that targets like something that's like that has to do with like consumer design, so things like that. So that's how our advice should go about it. So not about cramming a statement. Like I said, there's no wrong or right answer. It's not an exam. Nobody is grading you. Well, they are grading you actually for your interview. They're saying like, do you meet the mark or do you not? But it's really about showcasing your full potential, but curating it to that company. So that let's call the company your customer, right? That customer, because like we said, it's a sales, like a sales meeting. So that's how I advise you go about it. Okay, so as a multifaceted, this from Precious Adebowale. As a multifaceted creative in design, how can you balance your design journey from getting overwhelmed with lots of knowledge? Multifaceted creative in design. So I don't know what you mean by multifaceted. If you mean like you have so many multiple design skills. As a designer, you're a creative, so it's expected that you have a lot of design skills, a lot of creative skills. Okay, like I didn't tell you guys this, I should have said this. I was doing fashion design in Nigeria before I came to America, right? I was doing fashion design, now in product design. I'm into interior design. Like if you watch my YouTube channel, if you follow me on Instagram, I'm into interior design. So I'm also a multifaceted designer, but I would say the best way to actually go about this by not getting overwhelmed with consuming knowledge is basing your knowledge, what you know and what you do on first principles. So just look up first principles. First principles apply to anything in life. Like I was solving a problem at work this week and I just thought I was feeling overwhelmed because it's very ambiguous. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to use first principles to solve this problem. And the moment I started doing that, it gave me so much clarity. So I'll say look up first principles on Google, ChatGPT, whatever. It will give you first principles. And I always look for how to apply first principles to whatever creative skill you're trying to maybe grow in, and that's the best way to not get overwhelmed with knowledge. Okay, from Richard Enoch, he said, are foreign companies like Google and Microsoft still employing Nigerians to come work on site? I believe they are. I'm not sure. You have to go on your career site and look for jobs. And I think some of them hiring remotely, some of them are sponsoring visas to come, but they're still hiring. I know Google and Microsoft are still hiring, so it's just about doing your research, maybe talking to recruiters on LinkedIn, and you get to learn more about the specific hiring positions for that. But do not underestimate Nigerian startups. Okay, I've seen the great work most of them are doing, like Cowrywise. So also like utilize the companies there. And I think a lot of people always want to work in Google and Microsoft. Honestly, it's a good thing to want to work there. I wanted to work as a Microsoft and I'm here, right? But honestly, there are other companies that also need tech skills, whether tech people like product design, engineering, all of that. So don't only look for the big companies, look for the smaller, maybe Fortune 500 companies or Fortune 100 companies, whatever, that are in different sectors, not only technology, that also need design. Manufacturing companies need design. Transportation companies need design. Okay, they're not really outright tech companies, but they need tech skills because everything runs on technology these days. And as a designer, you have so much to offer to this company. So please don't only base your hiring goals, your job goals on the big tech companies, Google, Microsoft, like all of them, Amazon, Meta, Apple. Try to diversify when you're applying to jobs, apply to different companies in different industries. Even the health sector, like now the health sector is hiring a lot of designers, so look into that also. Okay, so this is from Ibukuno Olua Kumapayish. It said, how do you improve on your storytelling and product thinking skills? The best way to improve on anything is by putting it into practice. Okay, it's good to learn, it's good to take the courses, read the articles, talk to the experts, but put it to practice. Put it to practice, right? When I was in college and I worked on concept case studies that of course will never like ship or go live as an actual product, I always will have this slide like, how will I scale this in the real world? That is me thinking about the product thinking aspect of it, that's the business oriented part of it. Okay, and storytelling, the best way to tell stories, like I said, to grow in storytelling is by writing. Like I said, dear designer, right? So try your best to write. I write all the time. Like, okay, my notepad is here. I'm always writing. This was me right when I was prepping for the presentation yesterday. I was writing down what I wanted to talk about before I started creating my Figma slides. Okay, so that's how to tell good stories. And with writing, you can always refine it and refine it until you get the sweet spot. Okay, like now, if I need to redo this presentation, I will not change everything, but I'll make a few updates to it. Okay, that's the art of storytelling. And then talk to people, maybe start a YouTube channel, talk about your projects. That also helps you build confidence for interviewing and build confidence for being a good communicator. Because in your corporate job, you're going to have to learn executive communication. So speaking to your stakeholders, speaking to executives. So storytelling is an important skill to learn, and you learn that through writing and through speaking. You're muted.
Yeah, apologies. Thank you so much, Favor. And I think that's the last question. Okay, a question just came in now saying, "Can we have the slides to your presentation?" I guess that's a yes, right? Yeah. So
Yes.
Ibukumuluwa, yes, you will get the slides to Favor's presentation. Frankly, it was mind blowing. I like to say, like I've always said for every other session that sorry, I can hear myself. I think what's wrong?
We can hear you clearly.
Yeah, so I could hear myself like a feedback or something.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. So I think it's okay now. Thank you so much, Favor. Um, the last 90 minutes, 91 minutes has been really, really mind blowing. Really, really educative, really, really insightful, right? Um, I mean, not surprising, frankly. I had to take my time to learn so much about Favor. I think I initially got to know you in I think 2023 first before I reached out, and but I took my time to get to know you, and then before I eventually reached out, and you just further affirmed or confirmed that or validated that yes, you are who you say you are, right? And yeah, thank you so much for the last couple of minutes. I also took some time to check through the comment section, and I saw a number of comments, feedback from people, speaking to how much they've been enjoying the session so far, and I cannot but say thank you. Unfortunately, the Meetup internet has been quite disappointing for her. I'm sure that she probably didn't envisage this early enough. She would have
Yeah.
maybe made a bit for something, right? Also, apologies for the initial technical back and forth we had to do, right?
No problem. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I was also mentioning it to, I think every people in the virtual studio decided that I'm not sure how, but this session is a session that we've had the highest number of people in the first few seconds join. I mean, we've always had hundreds and up to 1,000 people join us, but in the first few seconds, in less than 1 minute, we really had over 100 people on the call, and that was surprising. And interestingly, you didn't disappoint. I mean, we were not expecting you to, anyways. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Thank,
too.
thank you. Yeah. Um. Okay. Yeah. Thank you to everyone who joined us, and I'm having to pick up from here. Pick up from here. Since Temitope is no longer in the virtual studio. So, just as you know already, the career series doesn't end here. We'll be having two more sessions by next week. I think on Thursday and on Friday. And after the whole career session ends, we then move on to our skill-based teams, where the idea for career series is to help you identify what career track or what career path you want to develop or you want to build upon, right? If you have decided that you want to become a designer, if you decided you want to become a software engineer, whichever one really, we then move into the skill-based teams where we then have structured learning processes over a period of 3 months, 6 months. On a weekly basis, you work on different projects together with different team members. And at the end of that, again, you then showcase your projects it's something that would look like an hackathon at the end of the day. And then you move on from there to then getting the opportunity to intern at some of our partner companies and even Cowrywise, of course. I mean, we've had quite a number of people who was intern at Cowrywise all the while. I mean, everyone will for all of the designs you've been seeing for career series, for instance, they've been designed by members of the design team in the ambassadors community, not designers in Cowrywise as a company, but designers in the ambassadors community, people who join the ambassadors community and they've improved their design skill by a significant percentage. They've even gone on to intern to get the opportunity to intern at Cowrywise. I think we've had about 6 or 7, 8 design interns so far in Cowrywise in the last in the last few years. And just recently, somebody joined us as a full-time designer. I think less than just about 2 weeks ago or something, from the ambassadors community, right? So that's how we do it. We've had people from the data team and the ambassadors community, people from the software engineering, design, skill-based teams, so on and on and on and on. So it doesn't just end here. The career series is only supposed to launch us into every of the other thing that we have to do, or that we have for you as a member of the ambassadors community. So after you've decided, you can come back to this YouTube page to rewatch the videos, or and then make a decision to say that this is what I want to do. I want to major in design. I want to major in software engineering. I want to major in data analytics, anyone really, right? And then after you've made that decision, when we make the call for skill-based teams application, you already know what team that you want to apply for or what skill-based team that you want to join, right? And then you follow through the structured learning processes, structured learning formats that we have for you over a period of 3 months rather, or 6 months, depending on the team and depending on your skill level. I mean, we know that we have different people with different skills level. We have people who are at the very, very beginner stage, right? We have people who are at the not so beginner stage. They already have a hang of how to navigate their way around different tools, whether it's what's it called, VS Code for software engineering, or it's Figma for design, or it's After Effects for motion design, or it's whichever tool really. So we know that we have different people with different skills levels. So we have different teams for different skills level, right? And if you're not a part of the ambassadors community as of this time, I want to encourage you to check out cowrywise.com/ambassadors, just as you can see on your screen, just below my video and Favor's video as well. Cowrywise.com/ambassadors, right? Become a part of the ambassadors community, whether you're a student or a recent graduate. And I promise it will be one of the best decisions you will make as an undergraduate or a recent graduate. Members of the ambassadors community can testify already, and I'm sure that you must have been seeing these things fly around different social media platforms, on TikTok, on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and whatnot. So yeah, um, again, thank you so much to everyone who joined us, and most importantly, thank you so much to Favor all the way from Microsoft.
Thank you.
Yeah. So that will be all from my hand, and see you guys in the next session on Thursday next week. I think that will be starting a career in data analytics. That data analytics or products management, I'm not sure right now, but yeah, either of the two. Cheers and bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, Favor. Thank you.